Welcome to episode 85, the Kev Drew Show. We get distracted early on with Shaun of the Dead and older movies, but start to discuss Better Man, Squid Game 2, and Xmas TV shows we've been watching, such as Gavin Stacey.
Oh.
Enjoy.
And then there were two.
So today, my microphone's. Can you hear me all right? Was I quieter there? My microphone was a mile away from me.
You sound amazing now, but I could still hear you in our brief rehearsal.
Oh, but it's better now, is it? Good.
Yeah, it's a million times better now.
Just realised the microphone is like a metre away up in the sky there.
Well, I was going to say, it felt a little bit more intimate. It was very realistic, but probably not great for a podcast. But, yeah.
So, yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, weird start, as per usual.
I love how there's just two of us, and yet we still manage to speak over each other.
Yeah, so today, James is not with us. He is on daddy duties, as we're recording this still over the Christmas break. But as you know, this is coming out on Thursday the 9th. But anyway, right, I kind of almost don't want to say it because it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago almost, but I hope you had a good Christmas and New Year, and that's the last time we'll mention it.
Yeah,
Did you have a good time?
Wait, are you asking me, or are you asking the invisible audience?
The audience.
Yeah, fuck the audience. That's lovely. I'm sure they love that. It was really nice, man. Yeah. It felt a little bit like just kind of being in a pit stop, just changing the wheels and then back on the road, so to speak, because I think retail is quite intense.
When did you go back to work then?
Day after Boxing Day, right? But here's a really funny quick story for you. Everyone was like thinking, oh, Boxing Day is going to be mental. Like, we're so lucky we didn't work on Boxing Day. But strangely, I think the majority of people in Brighton were like, Boxing Day is going to be crazy, so we're not going to go in. So the day after Boxing Day actually became Boxing Day because everyone turned up. They all had the same idea. So they're all trying to skip Boxing Day and just go in when it will be quiet. But because everyone had the same idea, the whole of Brighton turned up pretty much. And we were down. It was like that bit in the 300, like, tonight we dine in hell. It was so full on. But yeah, it was intense.
See, that makes sense because Boxing Day is going to be like the hangover from Christmas, where you can't be arsed to do anything because you may have a literal hangover, but also you've had too much food, you probably feel a bit stuffed, and you just want to veg out and do nothing. So yeah, of course you could. I started work on Friday the 27th as well, but that was we just got to be in one day between Christmas and New Year each, and that was my day. Now I'm off till Thursday the 2nd. But
mate, there was so many amazing bits of wordplay in that little monologue you just created there.
That I had to
connected to Christmas. You were like saying stuffing in case you want to veg out. Like, it was brilliant. It was absolute magic. You
did not hear any of that.
You poetic wordsmith. It was amazing. But yeah, I think it makes sense. But I remember back in the day, and I think you probably do when we were at Curry's, Boxing Day was brutal, bro. It was so many people queuing up to complain. They got the wrong toy or the wrong device, and they're like, my family member is a bit of an idiot. They didn't know what they were doing. They got me the wrong color, and I told them blue, and they got me a black one. It's close to black, but and like, just people just finding reasons to festively complain while we're all hungover behind tills, just trying to smile and be like, how can I help you today? Even though inside we wanted to die or be at home chilling out. Maybe just as life, as we're getting a little bit older and whatnot, like, you just, like you said, you just want to chill out on Boxing Day and not go into the madness of town.
And I don't expect people to be on their best
behavior,
their best anything, because as I said, I was working on Friday the 27th. So that was my first day out from the Christmas sort of experience, and I go about places for my job. So I was driving about, did a job, and I was near B&Q. So I popped into B&Q just to grab a pot plant we're meant to get. Well, in fact, all right, the real story is a pot for the plant. We've got two plants at our front door that are new, and the storm that hit last week toppled one of them and it
Ooh.
smashed. So I went back to B&Q to pick up a second one and some wire, and I've knocked it into the brickwork. So there's now the wire holding it up and everything. That was a really boring story. But
Did
the
the other
point I'm
plant soil
making,
itself?
the point I was making, I went to B&Q, and even when you can even in B&Q you can do your own pay.
Done?
You know, your own boop boop beep beep.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to rob the place. Just give me 2 plants.
I
Give
just,
me the plants.
well, you know, like those sort of shops, you expect to go to a till and someone to serve you, where they do have your self-service thing there as well, and you pick up your own little gun and beep beep your
Yeah.
barcode. But there's someone eagle-eye
Scanner. They're called
watching you.
scanners. Like guns
Yeah,
are used to.
because they can't weigh stuff in B&Q because it's extreme amounts of stuff in timber, stuff you cannot put on a thing. So
Yeah.
there's an eagle-eyed person standing there making sure you don't rob them. So you're beeping your stuff, and there's someone constantly watching you. And I just went, oh, thanks. Just even though they did nothing, but just to be polite, you just walk out, go, thank
Yeah.
you, have a good day. And it was just like scowl because they're there and they
Wow.
don't want to be there because it's day
Yeah.
after Boxing Day. And it's like, why am I here?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can sense that. And I didn't think dickhead or rude. I just went, yeah, fair enough.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. Yeah. It's like
I was the only human that I saw all day wearing a suit. It's like
wow.
everyone else is like,
Jogging
what is that
bottoms.
guy doing?
Everyone else is in jogging bottoms with Christmas stains on their trousers.
Yeah, I've never seen. It was like, I don't know. It was like Night of the Living Dead. Like when I walked around, everyone's monged out.
Yeah.
Everyone's wearing jogging trousers and stuff.
Or
And
hoodies with Arbisto down the front. Yeah.
yeah, I've never seen a disheveled bunch of people as much as I have on the 27th. People not caring, not paying attention, and not excited to be out. They're not like, oh, let's get the bargains. It's literally, oh,
Yeah.
this is the only day there's apparently a fucking sale on.
End me now. Has anybody got a festive gun? Just wrap some glitter around this Glock.
But
yeah, it was it's a mad one. It's almost like a dystopian. It's like if Christmas met a zombie movie. That's pretty much what Boxing Day looks like if you're in that world.
yeah, I felt like Shaun in Shaun of the Dead
Yeah.
that morning that he wakes up and there's zombies everywhere. He's walking past and tripping over blood and
Yeah.
people are going, "Ugh," and he's just like going get his drink and walks back and doesn't notice any of the zombies. I felt like I was the only one wearing smart clothes, but also kind of not hungover, but not with it. And
Yeah.
I didn't drink the day before, to be clear, but just because I didn't, because I felt stuffed from the day before. But
Fair.
everyone else looked out of it.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Sorry to interrupt the show. Just a reminder to say we love and appreciate you all for listening to the podcast, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, follow, as this really helps us continue to progress and improve the content and keeps us making these fun episodes for you guys. Oh, we're also on these things called Instagram and TikTok. You can follow us there too, as we share short, funny reels on the reg that you can share with friends if you like. Now, back to the mayhem.
Just jumping off that though, did you see that amazing thing that Simon Pegg did for all his fans? I think he was talking about something Tom Cruise did, and he's like, "Guys, I really wanted to create a kind of immersive experience based on things you might remember me from," and he reenacts the whole section of that one take from Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, that was a little while back, wasn't it?
Yeah, on a mobile phone, and it's so clever how he makes it. At first, the video seems so subtle, and then when you see what he's doing, you're like, oh my god, that's genius little Easter eggs to everything. It's on the same road, it's the same slip.
Yeah.
I think he's even got the same dude that's working at that thing, I think greets him very briefly, or he's just in the video very quickly. But I was just like, man, I love you, Simon. You're an absolute ledge. Like, that is genius.
I think he's brilliant. I saw a little clip of him yesterday on Instagram, and it was about, I don't know what film it was for, but they're talking about Benedict Cumberbatch, and he wasn't there. It was him and a woman, and he was being interviewed, and he goes, the thing about Benedict, right? And you think he's going to say something serious. He's like, right, the guy seems charming, suave, well-educated, very articulate, but he's just such a great actor, because as soon as that camera cuts, he's like, hey, what's for tea, guys? And as soon as the camera is, he's like, "Hello there, I'm Benedict, and what do you want for tea?" He's like so obscenely like he's just a very, very good actor. And then proceeded to rip the piss out of him for a minute, to the point
Nice.
the woman sat next to her, who's also an actor in the film they're in together, who is in tears and shocked. She's like, "Don't keep going, don't keep going," because he's like, you could offend him here, but
Yeah.
he knows that like if you've seen behind the scenes stuff about Benedict Cumberbatch, he is good fun as well, isn't he? So
Yeah, he'll be having a right laugh. I think there's like really funny outtakes of him being the dragon on the Hobbit series. You know, he's that crazy dragon.
is
He's
what
fucking brilliant in it.
he voices the dragon in The Hobbit?
Yeah, man.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Slaugon or something, and he's like, "I will get you." But there's like really funny outtakes of him still doing this voice, like, "I need to go for a wee," or like just doing really stupid shit. And as the dragon,
See,
pretty cool.
I like that. I like it when people don't take themselves too serious. And I was never a fan of Benedict Cumberbatch. I thought he was a bit of a prick, and I didn't like, don't know, just like didn't like his face. This is like 15 years ago, where you just see an
Yeah.
actor, he's a bit of a pompous prick, and then you see him in something good, and you're like, "Ugh." It was when I think it was when Sherlock first came out.
Oh yeah,
It took me a year to watch it because I'm like, I can't watch him for a whole
yeah.
hour. But because what's his face was in it? Another
Oh,
Hobbit
thingy
reference.
Martin
Freeman.
Freeman. Yeah.
Martin Freeman, also from The Hobbit. That's a weird
Yeah.
connection.
Oh wow, that was a cool connection.
I
Though. I
didn't
like
know that was a connection
it.
until then. But yeah, when I saw he was in it, and anything Martin Freeman's in is on, I'm watching
It's
it.
gold. Yeah.
And I thought, all right, we'll give it a go. And I fell in love with Benedict Cumberbatch. I was like, oh shit, he's actually quite good, and he's playing a dickhead because Sherlock's a dickhead.
Oh yeah. Well,
I
he's
still like him.
clearly on the spectrum, isn't he? Like he's got. I feel like he's got Asperger's because he doesn't understand emotions. Like he says really inappropriate things, and he doesn't really have. Yeah. Apart from his one Achilles heel is actually a Watson, because you actually see that he cares about him.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite clever because he's quite a cold-hearted. Yeah, he's like Bond if Bond was on the spectrum in a way. Do you know what I mean? But he's got like his little side part.
A little bit, yeah. I definitely see what you mean there.
Yeah.
What was it we were saying just before that? Oh yeah, Simon Pegg.
Dragons, Benedict, Simon,
Going back to Simon.
Tom Cruise.
I can't remember. I was trying to find, just as we were talking, I was just quickly scrolling with my other eye on my page because I've got a really good photo.
With my one eye.
It's not a really good photo, but it is a photo. And I cannot find it. There's too many photos on this bloody phone.
You've been taking pictures of celebrities again?
No, Shaun of the Dead. So with Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, you were on the street, man. You said.
Oh, did I already show it? Probably did.
No, you didn't show it. You mentioned it once in an episode, but we never got the proof.
Well, there's a photo of me. This is a different one. Did you watch Spaced with Simon Pegg?
Yeah, I love that. And Nick Frost. Yeah, I saw little skits.
That's me outside their house in Kentish Town.
Nice.
But I've also...
You actually look like you could have been a character in that in that suit. And like...
Is that it? No. But I used to work in Crouch End, and all of Shaun of the Dead is filmed in Crouch End and Highgate.
Okay.
If you ride the tube, it's Highgate. But yeah, I used to work there. So literally about 3-minute walk around the corner from my office is Nelson Road, and Nelson Road is the road where the little corner shop is.
Yeah.
From his apartment. So I've been to the corner shop.
But isn't the guy called Nelson as well?
In the film?
Yeah, the guy that works in the shop.
Fucking found it. Right. Here we go. What's good about this is multiple things, okay? So this is me on Nelson Road in Crouch End at the corner shop of Simon Pegg's film, The Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Look what I'm doing.
Cornetto, baby.
I got a strawberry cornetto from
that's the first one, right?
the shop. Yes.
Dude,
so now I need to take a trip up north to that. Oh, no, not up north. It's West
Cumbria?
Country area for Hot Fuzz and go and get a vanilla one.
Mate, I would have loved to do that with you, man. That would have been cool. That would have been a cool, fun thing to do.
And then go up north to wherever World's End's filmed and get a mint one.
Mate, that's sick. Cornetto trilogy, baby.
That's a great idea.
We should actually do that as a group, though, right? Is that what you're thinking? Or
Yeah, be well up for that.
that would be a proper cool Rage Whale thing.
Our mutual friend Drew Lowe, he has been, I think it was about a couple of years ago, he went to the place where Hot Fuzz was filmed and sent me a couple of photos. That little village. It looks exactly the same.
Mate.
I don't know how they managed to blow it all up.
Well, it was like, I think they made miniature things, didn't they?
No, the actual village where they're shooting and everything, not the actual miniature village.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if that miniature village is real or they built it to destroy.
Yeah, it's probably in a studio somewhere, I imagine, but yeah.
Yeah, they fucked that shit up.
Yeah, that was so good, man. Hot Fuzz.
Still a classic. I can't get over how good that is.
It's almost got more memorable lines, though, potentially, than Shaun of the Dead, I think.
I do think... Yeah, Hot Fuzz could be the best film.
Ooh, this is controversial. This is a very controversial conversation we're having. I remember the reason why I love Shaun of the Dead, right? This was a crazy day. I had some kind of cold or flu thing for some reason, and I remember having a discussion with the secretary at drama school about night nurse for some weird reason, and I was talking about you've got the day nurse and you've got the night nurse, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you got to be wary of night nurse," and I was like, "But the whole thing is called like the package is called like night nurse," so I thought surely you don't have to be wary of night nurse because that's what they're famous for. Anyway, long story short, I took one of the night nurse ones in the evening because I was like, I need a good night's sleep because I got a long day at drama school, blah, blah, blah. Took it, and I swear to God, I remember that the clock next to me was ticking like, and then all of a sudden it just went, and I was like, time? And then I was like gone, fucking gone. And I was like, as in like, I could have just been a piece of fabric floating through life. Like I was no longer me. I didn't remember anything. And then I woke up and it was like 10 o'clock or something. I was like, oh, fuck. And then like I ran all the way to where my drama school was at the time. And I was massively late.
10 a.m. You mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Not 10 p.m. But it might as well have been. I felt like I slept for 12 hours. That's how good night nurse is, guys. Night nurse. Anyway. Night nurse. Good night, Vienna. Anyway, I got there and she was like, "Why are you late? Like, this is supposed to be everything to you. This is your career. This is your blah. This is blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Listen, we had that conversation. We had that conversation about day nurse and night nurse. I took night nurse." And she was like, "What? I told you." I was like, I know. Anyway, and they were like, basically, we were all not evicted, like, but it was like, you're not allowed to be here today. So it was like a new thing that they'd set up, like, because supposedly a lot of lazy actors were turning up, like, drunk or whatever, or just not taking the training seriously. And they were like, we're going to crack down on you crackheads, essentially. Like, you're not allowed. But you're not allowed to be here today because we want you to take your career seriously and your training seriously. And I respect that. I wasn't trying to be a dick in any way. I just literally took the wrong pill, like it's the Matrix for some reason. And yeah, so they were like, you're all like not allowed to be here today. And like, look, for some reason that one day, like my mate Eddie, like, oh God, like quite a few people from my year were all like late. And a few people from the year above me, and there was like 7 or 8 of us, and we're like, well, "What are we gonna do? Like, we can't come back till tomorrow." And we're just like, "Should we just go to the cinema, man? Fuck it, yeah, let's just go to the cinema." And we all went to see Shaun of the Dead, and it was like the best movie.
Are we talking about when it first came out?
Yeah, bro. Like that day, like we literally went to the cinema and went, "Let's go see Shaun of the Dead," and I absolutely loved it. And that's probably why it has like a kind of like little sweet spot in my heart, because it was like
bonus nostalgia.
I felt bad like about that day, like not taking acting seriously and stuff like that. But then we saw this such inspirational film about these guys that kind of created their own careers, essentially, like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg wrote, directed by, J. Edgar, I was about to say J. Edgar Hoover, but
Uber.
Edgar fucking
Right.
Wright. And it was like just such clever storytelling, and the way it was filmed, you could just see how much passion went into it. And I was like, this was the most inspiring film that I watched during my training. And it was hilarious because I got to witness it because, I overslept due to night nurse.
But if you got to think about it, when you talk about films that are like the greatest ever, no one's referencing, unless you're like super duper geek, no one's referencing the biggest CGI films like Endgame, even though it was a good film objectively. But you talk about Shaun of the Dead, you talk about The Crow, you talk about mostly lower budgety films that have art and creativity and are a bit more, they've got something special, and there's usually a backstory which adds to maybe not the nostalgia, but like the importance and the significance and the meaningfulness behind it and the creativity of the like you said with like Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright when they did the Spaced episode, Zombies, that's when they initially thought, right, okay, well, Simon Pegg's unusually quite good at pretending to be a zombie. Can we make that funny? Can we do a short? And then it just developed and thought no one's going to make the film, so we'll make it.
And that was one of the best parts actually in Shaun of the Dead. You know, when everyone's like auditioning to pretend to be dead so they can get through the horde, and then they're like, "Well, what are you going to do then?" He's like, "Well, I'll just do it on the night." He's like, "It is the night," and they're like, and they want to see Simon Pegg's version of it, and he's like, "Ooh," and they're like, "Actually, that's pretty good." He's like, "Yeah, cheers," and it's like he's really good at it. But actually, mate, to be honest, I might watch that this evening. Like, I absolutely love that film, and I'm quite grateful that I'm one of these people that can rewatch movies, because there's so many people I know that are like, "No, I've seen it," and it's like, yeah, but you can watch it from a different perspective and enjoy it for other reasons. Like, that's why I think I'm so passionate about the film industry, that it's not just about the story that's put out to an audience. It's about, you can see how the character arcs, the way that it's filmed, the really clever kind of cinematography, or the really clever shots. Like one of the best moments in the Shaun of the Dead is some of the transitions. Like, there's a bit where I think he's holding the pint. Yeah, those bits are genius though, when he's like getting ready for work, slams the mirror, puts the thing on, brushes his teeth. But it's like the bit, I think there's a bit where he's like got the pint. No, it's like he comes back home and he's pissed and he picks up the coffee cup or something, and he's really hungover, and he puts it down. He tries to write something on the wall, then his head goes down, and you've got this cool stop motion of time, and then it goes, and then like the phone goes off, and it's the next day, and it's like
night nurse moment for Drew.
That is my nightmare. Yeah, that is my night nurse moment. Yeah, 100%.
But then in the Hot Fuzz, they're just because they got more money and more backing, it doesn't dilute it. It supersized it, and they kept the comedy. Like even the bit when they're recreating, what's the director that does Bad Boys and stuff like that with that slow motion?
Michael Bay.
Does the Michael Bay bits. They probably couldn't do that in Shaun of the Dead. It was the technology and the ability to make it perfect. Probably not as good as that. And obviously they've got explosions and that's above basic stuff in there. But they kept it grounded. They kept it funny. The comedy was the priority. But they did the quick transition shots like Shaun of the Dead. So it still worked, and it was an appropriate non-sequel sequel.
Even 100%.
So,
and it's still, like you said, it's still got those beautiful homages for the audience that loves the first one. Because that's the funny thing about those films, I feel, is that we love those gimmicks. You watch one of those, Cornetto trilogies for the cool gimmicks, or how they're going to come up with clever lines, or the homages to other films,
and the connections within the film as well. Like in every film, there's someone jumping over a fence in the garden.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And obviously the cornetto, and there's also in jokes about each one, and obviously repeating actors. And I think that's what's good. Rather than doing sequels for days, is that I think it works more with comedy, because if you have a drama or a horror or something serious, it would dilute the seriousness if it's the same people playing different characters in a, directed by the same person but a slight twist on it. I don't think it would quite work. But with comedies, that's the joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Simon Pegg again with Nick Frost again. Oh,
Yeah.
they're there again.
Yeah.
That's funny, but
it's got that Brechtian quality, because we know that they're great actors, but they're also great at playing kind of like caricature characters. Do you know what I mean? So they're playing these kind of larger than life characters, and normally they're down on their luck and they want to try and change things. Yeah, I love how it's kind of infused with like Point Break, and oh man, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's absolutely fucking brilliant.
And as well, I was going to say before as well that I don't know if you remember or you heard, or we've discussed before. I hope not. But there was an issue when they were releasing Shaun of the Dead, because they were going to release Shaun of the Dead in 2002. There was an issue with the production or the money or the something. I can't remember. Apologies for starting a story with no specifics, but they were going to release it.
Did you have nightmares? No.
2002. There was delays for some reason, and it pushed back to 2003. And in 2003, that's when what was that other zombie film that was massive around then? Not Living Dead. Another franchise that's very
cool.
One of those big ones.
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. I think you are right.
Which also makes sense, because you could see why they delayed it, because they're Shaun of the Dead, which is a homage to.
Bingo. Yeah, so Dawn of the Dead.
By a very famous director.
By Zack Snyder. Came out in 2004. And that was the last, I think that was the last slow-moving zombies. And that's the same year that 28 Days Later came out, which revolutionized zombie films, because it's the first film with zombies running. And they'd heard about that a year before it came out. In the industry, they're like, oh, just so you know, there's another zombie film coming. Oh, no, sorry. There's now 2 zombie films coming out the same year. You're bringing out your silly little project of comedy. And they're like, it's yeah, and they're running, and it's violent and gory, and it's exceptional. And they're like, do you want to change or do something different with your film? Do you want to make them run? And they're like, no, we're sticking to was it George R. Ramirez?
That's the guy. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, him. He goes like, oh no, I'm old school. I want it to be an old school zombie, original zombie.
Yeah, original recipe. Yeah,
but you got Shaun of the Dead, and you got Dawn of the Dead, and you've got 28 Days Later in the same year. 3 exceptional zombie films, and wildly different, that you can't compare the 3 of them.
Yeah, and like you said, they're bloody good independent ones as well.
Well, that's it, especially 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
Which filmed low budget. Cillian Murphy, big break. Even though he'd done stuff before, this is his biggest role, I think, at the time.
Yeah, I think that definitely put him on the map. Well, I mean, at the time, Danny Boyle was like gold. Like everything he touched, man, he was like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, because of, was that after Trainspotting? It was, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was like early 90s.
Oh yeah, what am I talking about? Yeah, so it was, yeah. It was.
You've done that. What was that one about winning the lottery?
Oh yeah, Slumdog Millionaire.
I'm sure it was after that.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle. He did 128 Days Later as well. Didn't realize that.
Yeah, for the 127 Days Later.
127. I'm looking at it.
Oh no! It's not Days Later, because that's the ones with the zombie. It's 127 hours.
127 hours.
Because 127 days later just sounds...
I'm looking at it and I said it wrong twice.
But that would work though, because if he was a zombie, he could easily cut his own arm off by the rocks, because he's a zombie. Like he'd be like,
right. Like... So Danny Boyle, yes, he's done stuff before, like Inspector Morse. Didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
And a few other things, directing wise. But his first film was Shallow Grave. I think we all know that.
Oh,
He's
it's fucking brilliant,
so
man.
good. Second film would and that put Ewan McGregor on the map,
On the map, 100%.
and also put Christopher Eccleston on the map. Who
Yeah.
I always get confused with Ralph Fiennes. I think they're very similar.
Maybe in your brain.
In my brain, and I know they're not. I know they're not.
I mean, I can understand if you got Ralph Fiennes and Joseph Fiennes mixed up, but maybe not.
Ralph Fiennes from Conclave recently, and he's in the new 28 Years Later film.
Yeah, built like a fucking juggernaut.
My God. If I had his body now, and he's like, what, mid-60s or something?
Yeah.
I would, oh my God, that man is a beast.
Yeah,
I
he
just
is.
love
he really
everything he does. But yeah. What was I going to say? Danny Boyle.
Yeah, he did the Beach as well.
Yeah, Life is Ordinary, The Beach, year
The Beach,
2000.
that put DiCaprio, let's be honest, I mean, obviously DiCaprio was still killing it off the Titanic, but The Beach really,
that changed him from like heartthrob to kind of serious as well.
Yeah.
I think it was still a heartthrob scenario.
That was quite a trippy film, The Beach. It was quite dark to watch and stuff, to go on that journey. But it was also
Slumdog was 2008. That was trying to find. It was later. Apologies.
That was the kind of clash and kind of like rivalry and split of Ewan McGregor and Danny Boyle. And till this day, like they've kind of sewn up those wounds. But Ewan McGregor was originally cast, I think, and I think it was the producers were kind of like, swaying Danny Boyle to say go with DiCaprio.
Oh yeah, it was Ewan McGregor he fell out with. And he only became friends with him again at Trainspotting 2.
Yeah. So that was a big journey for those guys. Well, because I can also imagine like the bitter wound of being given like, you've just done Trainspotting together, gone on that massive journey, and then you're pretty much lined up for this big blockbuster summer event that's going to, as the lead. And it's even got Robbie, it's not Robbie Coltrane, who's the one from Trainspotting that throws the Bigsby, that throws the pint glass.
Oh, Begbie. Robert Carlyle.
Oh, Robert Carlyle, that's the one. Sorry, I can get those two confused. Robert Carlyle and Robbie
Miller and Ewan Bremner, Spud, and he was the original person that played Renton in the play.
In the play, yeah.
And he saw him. He was like, "I'm having you, but you're going to play Spud." I'm like, "I've been playing Renton in the theater for years." He's like, "Yeah, we're going to get Ewan McGregor, I'm afraid, because he's better."
Can you imagine? Yeah. But that's mad. That is like that kind of whole journey there is just a madness.
It's weird how things work out and stuff like that. Because I would say that Ewan Bremner, who plays Spud, is phenomenal, and he could have been bigger if he was given more opportunity. I don't know where he went. Where did he go?
Yeah.
He's like, what? Why do you want to be in your interview? Why do you want to be here? Oh, it's my pleasure. You're a leisure.
yeah. But interestingly, his arc is the best, I'd say, because they really he gives him much more to do in Trainspotting 2.
Oh, I love Trainspotting 2. It didn't get a good hype, but I fucking loved it.
Mate, I fucking love it, man. So good.
Again, this is when I was working and living in North London. I was in Crouch End, literally about 4 streets away from Shaun of the Dead being filmed. They opened a picture house. And I went there. It was new. It had only been open a few months. And Trainspotting 2 came out. And I went with a couple of people from work, the only 2 Scottish people I've ever met outside of work, really, in my family. And we went to a pub beforehand, and we both took an iron brewing, and we had, no lie, we went to this pub, like Crouch End's pretty arty-farty. It's posh.
Yeah.
We went to a pub that was it was owned by a Scottish guy, like to the point where it had antlers on the wall, very over the top Scottishness, and we had haggis.
I knew it was a haggis.
I am not lying. We had spiced haggis
on
as
toast,
like a small plate.
Yeah.
And some Scottish whiskey thing, and something else. I'm sure we had a Scottish beer of some sort. Might have been just Tennent's, which doesn't sound, if you're from Scotland, doesn't sound that impressive. But outside Scotland, Tennent's does not exist.
Mm-hmm.
But we had that, and then we went to watch Trainspotting 2, and had a great time.
Mint.
Also, he asked permission from
Irving Welsh.
But you know exactly what I'm going to say, I think.
It's Irvin Welsh.
No, he asked permission from James Cameron
What?
to call Danny Boyle did, asked permission from Danny
Oh,
to call
T2.
it T2. And he went, I think he basically went, call it what you want. Judgment Day is always going to be known as T2, but I think they got more views because people type in T2. It still comes out as well.
What do you reckon the link to that is? I mean, obviously I know it's Trainspotting 2, but like, why? It's quite a bold choice because there's a tea company called T2 as well.
Well, it's literally called T2. Like the poster is T2 Trainspotting.
Yeah.
And it's so good. It's
yeah, I love it, man. I think, you know, it's interesting we talk about some of these kind of golden ones that kind of slip through the net. There's so many elements to it that I love because when I was watching it, you've got to think that the way that the story works is it still works from a nostalgic point because we were closer to their age in the first one. And then ironically, well, not even ironically, because it's just called time, we're closer to the age they are in that one because of however many years later. And then I thought it works really well because the subtleties to the fact that when they say Ewan McGregor's been missing, his character, sorry, Renton's been missing, and he looks better, and he's got all this money and all this kind of stuff, and that's almost like not like a dig at Ewan McGregor, but it's like you've done a lot of massive movies where a lot of us other Scottish actors were kind of still.
It's meta, isn't it? It's the characters are playing are quite realistic to what they are, just 100%. With heroin rather than fame.
Yeah, and that's why like it's got more poignancy. Was like, where the fuck have you been for 27 years? And it's like smashing Hollywood, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, what you guys been up to? We've pretty much been in this pub, just kind of like looking over lines. You know, it's like.
Not that it was his biggest thing, but it's still the biggest thing when you say it out loud. Is that no matter how many films he's been in, he can just go, "Oh yeah, after this film, I did, Star Wars,
Yeah, that
and all these guys are like, I did a couple of TV shows.
yeah.
In the early noughties.
yeah, exactly. But let's be honest, man. Johnny Lee Miller, his Scottish is phenomenal, man. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's not Scottish, is he?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you wouldn't.
And I reckon because I reckon he would have made a lot of people think he was Scottish based on how good his Scottish accent was in those films. Do you know what I mean?
But then again, I think it probably worked the other way as well. I bet a load of people thought Ewan McGregor was American doing a Scottish accent and go, "Oh, your Scottish is so great." It's like,
oh yeah, thanks very much.
Even what's his name? Other Scottish dude. Speak No Evil. James McAvoy.
Oh, McAvoy, man.
He was on like chat shows and he did an X-Men thing. I think it was in Graham Norton, and it was James McAvoy who is got a heavy Scottish accent, and he was with who's the other guy in X-Men who is very Irish?
Fassbender, man. Michael Fassbender,
who is extremely like more Irish than McAvoy.
Irish people.
Scottish. Like James McAvoy, you can understand, but there's some few words there you're like, what? Well, I can understand, but I assume most people can't.
Yeah.
But if Michael Fassbender speaks his actual native the way he wants to, it's gibberish. It's like, it's a good time.
Yeah.
You're like, what? And they both made the joke at the same time that I have to put on this accent so that you understand me.
Yeah.
And they're both like, oh, yes, hi. How are you, James? Not too bad, Michael.
Almost like Brad Pitt in Snatch, he's like, what did I need to have?
Hey, the fucking dogs. Dag. What the fuck is dags?
Yeah. Mate, that's such a good film. But yeah, that's a mad one, man, isn't it? Like, McAvoy, man.
I tell you what, what's annoying is that we don't live near each other, because your affinity for movies is like mine in the sense that I love new films and I want to see new. What's the word? Vivarious? No.
Oh, vicarious.
No, not vicarious. That's like throwing caution to the wind.
Throw anything to the wind.
Is that the right word? When
you live through someone.
No, that's vicarious still.
Okay, yeah.
Caution to the wind and going, I'll vicariously live through. But no. Okay. Vivarious is like gluttonous. I'm probably wrong. It's a
Green?
word that sounds similar to that if I've got it wrong.
Right.
Everyone write in on a postcard to tell us what the real meaning is, or I could just Google it, but I can't be arsed.
That's fine. Yeah.
It's like I want all the things. I want
Yeah.
to watch all the
Digest
things.
that.
I want to see the new things, but honestly, I would rather watch old films all the time. And if we live near each other,
Yeah.
we would do, because our partners could be involved. It wouldn't have to be like separate or anything. We could just, I could go around yours and you could come around mine and we could just do like a 2-movie night marathon. Get pizza, get a beer, get some snacks, watch like
Some nachos. Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead, then
Mate.
Hot Buzz, and then on Monday we could do a podcast about it, and actually go deep on shit.
Oh, mate, that makes my heart, like, I wish that was a reality and not like, because there's split screen because we're in two completely different places now, man. But
I know. I'll be down in April though. Not that we'll be watching anything because we'll be doing other things. But...
yeah, we'll be doing another thing. No, I look forward to that, bro. But yeah, I mean, I think this is why, like, because I think my wife thinks I'm a bit of a like a film hermit. Like I retract to the films I love and know, and I'll just watch something, because sometimes she'll watch something on TV and she'll give it like she'll come back in 45 minutes or an hour, and I'm watching something that I know I love. She comes in and goes, that thing was crap, I'm never going to get that time back. And there's me all like jolly going, well, I knew what I was watching is going to be good because I'm watching stuff that I know is good, so it's always going to be good. Yeah, and some people might think that I'm wasting my life because, like, why not, look at something new or get a little bit more perspective, because, variety is the spice of life. But sometimes those chilies are shit. So it's like,
I need a visual comfort blanket.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean,
right.
I don't know how I've done this, but one of the longest fucking films ever made, which is Oppenheimer, I've seen so many times. Like, that is my weird ass, comfort blanket.
I've seen it 3 times in the cinema.
Dude, that's amazing. I saw it twice in the cinema. But I wish I saw it on the big screen. Like, no, tell a lie. I did see it on the big screen. I wanted to go see it again, and that's when I saw it in screen 5. But it was still amazing, man. It was me and
you weren't sitting at the back because you.
No, I wasn't. I was in the middle, but it was like me and a few four older kind of women, and it was interesting.
See, that's like at the moment, especially like this week. Reminder to the audience that we are still in the Christmas break. We haven't gone back to work yet, so there's a lot of time, and the weather is about to turn really bad tomorrow, and it's not been brilliant. So there's a lot of indoor time, and there's so much TV to watch. But honestly, a lot of the Christmas TV is shockingly bad. But we'll talk about it in a second. But
yeah,
I would say that you finish a series, like we smashed out a series in an entire day. One day, smashed out an entire, like it was a longer than a day at work. We did a whole series on Netflix. I'll tell you about that in a second because I went to because you're watching it. But once it's finished, you're like, right, what's next? What's next? What's the next one? And looking around, I'm like, suppose we should watch that because that's what everyone's going to be talking about. But honestly, I'd rather watch X, Y, or Z, a film from the 90s that I've seen 5 times, because we're looking and going, trying to decide what to watch. And like on my Netflix up to watch next list, I've got about, I've reduced it recently. So I've got, I used to have like 40, and I'm like, I'm never going to get to watch these. So I took them all off, and I've still got like 20 on there. And I would say 18 are films I've seen at least 3 times.
Yeah.
It's like 2 films that are new that I want to watch, but the rest are like the old school stuff.
Off the back of that, real quick, right? I met a customer the other day that told me the coolest thing. He said, we don't do advent calendars anymore, like with the chocolates or all the crazy, indulgent gifts, which is lovely, and it's great if people do that, and that's cool. But what they do instead is they get their children, or teenage children or whatever it is. They basically, everyone, or maybe it's everyone in the family. Anyway, everyone writes a film.
Oh yeah.
And then they kind of hide it up, and then they cover the whole thing. And so, actually, how does that work? Because some people will know. Anyway, but when they open each window, the family sits down to watch that entire film. So the
Right.
24 days building up to Christmas is just movies that they all wanted to experience, or maybe they've never seen before. And so the movie is the gift. And I was like, that's awesome, man.
Well, again, for reference for people listening, Drew wasn't around last week when we did our Christmas one, and we were talking to my cousin Michael as our
Yeah.
regular guest and film buff. And I don't think the episode's out yet, so you might not have heard, unless it was today or it might be next week. Anyway, Michael does similar things. He does him and his kids. He says we watch a Christmas movie every day of December, and we leave the best one till the first. He goes, but we always watch Elf on the. I said, all right. So what's the crap ones? What you watch in the first few days? If you're building up to the best ones. And he goes, no, it's not about best and worst, but we do have the best one on Christmas Day. I'm like, all right, so what's on the first and what's on the 25th? I can't remember his answers to all of them, but he goes, on the first, we always watch Elf while we're putting the tree up.
Nice.
And then every other day we watch a film. Like, oh no, Christmas Day, it's A Wonderful Life.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's beautiful.
And he goes, even the kids appreciate a black and white long film because it's well done.
But it's also so powerful. Like, you know, going back to talking about old films and stuff of different, you know, like time. It's almost like a time machine back to a different genre in life, right? Or a different decade, as it were. And some of those black and white movies it's just beautiful sometimes, I think, because when someone was talking about film is like the best drug, right? Because it's a pure escapism from everything going on in your world, all your problems, all your concerns, all your difficulties and challenges. You can just kind of let it all melt away. Because there was a time where if someone's having a difficult day, someone would be like, let's go to the theater, or let's go to the film, let's go to cinema. It's the idea of watching people overcome things and being inspired by that, or just completely escaping your own shit, basically. And sometimes when I watch old films, you can see how slow and beautiful life was. And I feel like when I watch films now, you can actually see how fast it is. Some films are almost like it's like a 2-hour advert, in the sense that it's so quick, like everything is always trying to get your attention. And when you look at older films, there's like longer takes because obviously they didn't have the budgets, but it kind of makes it feel a bit more digestible because it doesn't make you feel this kind of like seasick.
Yeah, I do agree, and I think newer films, even some of the great ones, they lack something that old films always had. Maybe a bit more heart, maybe a bit more
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
process and realism, as opposed to the CGI and focusing on
yeah.
effects or explosions or whatever it
But
might be.
yeah, I kind of understand that thing, that kind of what
But we've got short attention span these days as well,
yeah,
so they've got to grab you. There's that thing about Netflix series. You've got, I think, like 20 to 30 seconds to grab someone's attention, and the first, I think it's like 2 to 3 minutes must have a set piece to go,
yeah.
right, I want to know what happens next.
Well, it's got a hook. It's got a hook because when you're writing screenplays and stuff, it
A
has to be
lot of
called a
the
hook.
old films and best films in the world, you
Yeah.
start and it's like 15, 20 minutes before anything. Not that it was boring in the initial, but it's setting things up. It's getting to know, oh, this person's nice because they do this and they do that.
Yeah,
It's not engaging. It's just, well, it is engaging, but it's not
yeah,
like they haven't exploded or killed anyone. They're just living their lives, and you just get to know this person for 20 minutes
yeah.
so that you care about them when something bad happens later, and then you root for them towards the end
100%.
because they want them to overcome the thing. So it's a slow burn, but it's grabbed you as opposed to just shooting 10 people and exploding,
Well, it's character building, because a lot of people say nowadays, like a lot of scripts, they're just relying on movie star presence rather than going. It's like lazy writing now. A lot of stuff, because it's like, oh, it's got all these amazing actors in it. That doesn't mean it's going to be good. Like, they can do the best work possible, but the script lets them down if the story and the characters. If we don't care about characters,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, man. And I think that's
We've
where
got a formula these days.
Yeah, it is a really lazy formula, because it's like someone was saying the other day, it's like they're like, oh, well, they'll care about it because that actor's really kind of empathetic. But it's like, yeah, but if we don't care about the character, it doesn't matter how good the actor is. They're being let down by the script, because it's like someone said a really good analogy for like a movie. They said, give us a couple of people we really care about, and make them go through hell, make them have to overcome all these obstacles to get where they need to, and that we're going on that journey with them, going, oh, they're almost there. Oh, this thing happened. Oh, they almost got that. Oh, this thing happened. Oh, that's the thing they need. Oh, that person just stole it. Ah. So it's like you go on the journey with them. And the thing about bad writing is that it's like, here's the character. Everything's working out just fine. You're like, this is boring, man. There's no conflict. There's no drama. There's nothing at stake. Yes, it looks beautiful. Yes, certain bits were funny, but it's like, it's not, Yeah.
I agree. I agree a lot. And I think, can you remember about an hour ago when we weren't sure what to discuss on today's episode?
Yeah.
And we're 50 minutes in and I've not discussed the 10 bullet points I've written down.
Mate, I love it. I feel like that's our secret recipe, though. You put stuff down on paper that we'll never see.
Fuck's sake.
But it's there. It's there. It's the safety net.
I'm not knocking it. We've had a good chat about stuff, but there's like 10 things. Well, we don't have to bring them all up.
10 things I hate about you. Go. No.
There's a couple I thought were good. Like, to go to modern films, the 2 films I've watched in the last 2 days. Can you remember what type of movies I don't like?
Musicals.
Bingo. I watched 2 musicals and thoroughly enjoyed both of them.
Mate, there you go, man.
I think I need to go and watch Wicked and before.
Mate, I swear to God, man, I wish we could see it like together, man.
Wicked is clearly a cheesy. It's obviously a cheat. I know it's good.
But hear me out. Like the story, the screenplay. Well, the stage play.
The story. There's nothing. Nothing's hidden or a surprise.
No. I know. No, I'm just saying it's really bloody good, and also the musical numbers are just incredible. Like, they're genius. If you like La La Land, right? I swear we talked about
La La Land's one of the best films ever.
There you go, mate. So La La Land is going to be like Wicked.
I think there's different musicals. La La Land is a cracking film which happens to have some musical numbers in it. Yes, it's still a musical.
Well, a shed ton of musical numbers.
It's not dominated by it, if that makes sense. The story is more important, whereas there's some musicals where it's just singing and dancing for an hour and a half and like 2 minutes of plot points. That's shite, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, like the Joker 2, for example, was a car crash of a musical.
It's not even if I put musicals down the bottom, it's not even good enough to be called a musical, that film.
Well, there you go.
But the film I watched just literally 5 minutes before we started recording was Spirited, which I know is like 2 years old, but it's a free film on Apple. And Sadie said to me literally a couple of days ago, why don't we watch that film with your boyfriend in? I was like, what are you on about?
Will Ferrell?
And no, the other one. She goes,
Ryan Reynolds.
You fucking love Ryan Reynolds. I'm like, what film is he in that I've not seen? And she was like, this one. I was like, oh, I'm not watching that crap. I'm not watching like a cheery Christmas bullshit musical. It looks awful. And we put the trailer on. She hadn't seen it. She just assumed I wanted to watch it because it's Christmas time and shit. And we put the trailer on. I was like, it's not for me. It's for kids. It's just, and I don't mind a kids film.
Yeah.
But it was a bit. But anyway, we watched the trailer, and Sadie actually laughed a couple of times, and I laughed once. I was like, all right, fuck it, we'll give it a go. Put it on. It's not for kids. He says shite multiple times. He says shit. He says dick. He makes dick jokes constantly. It's like, this is not for kids.
Yeah.
But it is really funny.
Deadpool because he's dressed in red, but without the mask and the burns.
It's nowhere near that extreme, obviously.
No.
But it's definitely got some moments. It's got heart in there, and it kids you because they're both silly and they're both comedians. It's a sneaky one because you watch films that are good that you know you're going to cry, you know it's going to be heartfelt. This doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's too superficial to be emotional, and then it catches you a couple of times. You're like, oh, you little fucker.
Nice.
It's quite good. I would recommend it.
I might check it out.
What did we watch this week? On Cinema Selection.
But I did watch Better Man, the Robbie Williams film, 2 nights ago.
Yeah, man. Tell me about that.
I won't go into detail.
Yeah, not in crazy detail, but
because I think it's worth you watching. But I made the caveat when I reviewed it earlier, is the fact that I don't like Robbie Williams' music. I detest Take That music. That's like the epitome of the worst music and manufactured pop. As far as I'm concerned, it's the devil of all music. It's the worst thing ever.
It's a perfect film for you then.
Yeah, I was like, this is not a film I should be watching. But the trailer looked good, and if anyone's seen the Robbie Williams documentary on Netflix, have you seen that?
Yeah, that was
heartbreaking, right? It was tough.
Yeah.
It made me. I never disliked Robbie Williams as a human because I know he's got balls, and he's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
I hate his music because I don't like pop music. That's just my genre of music that I don't like.
Yeah.
But when you see him in interviews, it's like whatever your opinion of Oasis is, Liam Gallagher in an interview, there's no one funnier, and Noel Gallagher, to be funny as fuck as well. So even though they're not the nicest people, they are funny people, and I'd watch stuff about them, even if the music was shit. But the Robbie Williams thing, Better Man, where it's the monkey playing him, yeah, there was a lot that was tough to watch. It's not an uplifting story.
Yeah, 100%.
It's 90% devastating, and he makes the point that he's a dickhead, and he wrote it. He did everything in this, and he makes himself out to be a villain.
Wow.
He is not a nice man, and it's not that he's not a nice man. He's a nice man. But he puts himself in bad positions and he reacts badly to everything because he's got general anxiety. And people don't understand that. They just see him as an arrogant twat. And he is a narcissistic, arrogant twat, but not in a bad way, in a conflicted...
Yeah, but it's a mask. It's a mask you wear, which is quite interesting that he decides to be a monkey because he's monkeying around. But it's like based on...
He says he's unevolved.
Yeah.
And he says, well, it's that old... phrase, isn't it, about the music industry? It's like what is that phrase?
Well, it's kind of it eats them up, doesn't it? It chews you up and spits you out, kind of sort of thing.
It's like it's like so the music industry run everything and you're just their little monkey doing their bidding. That's kind of how he felt. And Gary Barlow doesn't come out of it smelling like roses, that's for sure as well.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very, very good film.
Well, it's clever because it almost looks like when we were talking about Planet of the Apes. It's like Planet of the Apes meets that Robbie Williams documentary.
Well, I watched an interview with Robbie Williams today, I think it was, and I did not know this, and you'll be surprised by this if you've not heard the interview today. Is that Robbie Williams knows a lot of people. Like, he lives in LA now or lives in America somewhere. So he's quite reclusive, but even though he's not famous in America, like if you asked Americans who Robbie Williams are, it's probably like 30% will know who he is, where you ask someone in Britain, it's 100%. No one doesn't know who he is. Anyway, so he is friends, like actual friends, prior to anything famous, just mates with the guy who wrote all the songs and created The Greatest Showman.
Oh, wow.
That's who wrote and directed this film, Better Man, with Robbie Williams. It's The Greatest Showman crew.
Wow.
There's some big set pieces with those lot. Hugh Grant was not convinced on The Greatest Showman, and it took Robbie Williams to phone Hugh Jackman
Jackman.
to phone Hugh. So Robbie Williams phoned Hugh Jackman and said, "I've heard the songs. You need to do this." And Hugh Jackman said yes because of Robbie Williams.
What?
And that's not a flippant comment that can't be backed up. The interview I listened to today is Robbie Williams, the songwriter and the director, the three of them sitting next to each other, all going, "We couldn't get Hugh Jackman. He wasn't convinced. We had to get Robbie Williams to phone him. And when Robbie Williams phoned him, he was like, all right, let's have a meeting."
What? Can you send me a link to that? That sounds amazing.
Who the fuck knew that he knew or he had any power or anyone knew who? Like,
Yeah.
I know Hugh Jackman's not technically American; he's Australian, isn't he? But he might have
Yeah. But he's still a big movie star, isn't he? Like,
yeah, and he can sing, but like, it just feels random that he would know who Robbie Williams is. But
did he call Zac Efron as well, or was Zac Efron like, "I'm down"?
But I think Robbie Williams was like, he translates in Britain and Australia, just not as much in America, maybe.
Yeah.
So he's global, but it didn't quite crack America, which is why he lives there, because he's a recluse and he doesn't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
So
Which
he's
makes
a
sense.
narcissistic recluse. He is a conundrum in a ball. But now this film's come out, even though people don't see his face until the very end, he might be more famous in America now, and that's probably not what he wants, and he's a bit confused about that. And he said, "I kind of think that's why I made it the Monkeys. I didn't see my face, but I did put my photo up at the end. But maybe they won't look into it." He's very confused about that.
Yeah.
Better Man is bizarre. Again, I said to you in the last episode, or said to Michael, this film is a 15, and it's a strong 15. It is drug use, it is profanity, it is violent as hell. It's it got some extreme violence in there that's just brilliant. And one interviewer said to him, "Why aren't you doing? Why isn't it PG? Why aren't you doing it for like all the fans? All the kids that love you?" And he goes, "All the people that like me are in their 40s now, and I have not left a PG life." It's like, yes, good man. Don't placate people.
Yeah, 100%, man.
But anyway, we were talking before. We should mention a couple of TV shows we're watching at the moment, because it is the time for lots of new series coming out, and there's loads of good stuff coming out in the new year.
Yeah.
What are you watching at the moment?
Well, I'm in between two shows, because it's just fun to kind of pick and choose sometimes, just to confuse your brain rather than just watching one. So watch the first episode of season 2 of Squid Game.
And what do you think so far?
I think it's fucking phenomenal. Like, this is quite a bold statement, but I thought that this first episode is almost as good as like half of the entire first season.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because
what's the first episode? Where does it end?
What with the
protagonist? What is the end of the first episode? What happened? I can't remember.
Have you seen?
This is the series I binged in one day. We did a full day of like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
No, I'm talking about Squid Games.
Yeah, I watched Squid Games 2 in one day.
Oh wow! Oh, okay. Yeah. So
we had about a 20-minute break, and then we started.
They're doing roulette. They're doing Russian roulette, and they find the guy on the platform. And the reason I love it is that character from the first one, who's pretty much the protagonist in the whole first one. He kind of shows that he's kind of past the line now, that he is not afraid. He is not that quivering, lost soul of a person looking for something. It's like he's out for blood, and he wants to find the people responsible.
He has got a shit ton of money, and he's trying to find these people.
Yeah, and it's amazing that he's using the wealth from the game to try and get back into the game to find the people responsible. Like it's great.
He says it's like not guilt money. He says it's this money's got blood in its hands. I don't want the money. I'm using the money to prevent it happening again, type thing.
Yeah.
You are in for a ride because
Yes.
the first 2 episodes I think are really great, but it is grounded in real life.
Yeah.
I think it's like episode 3 before the game.
Yeah, we're not in any games yet, which is fine. But I'm saying this is how amazing it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I was watching episode 1. It was early episode 2, and I paused it and was like, "This is Squid Games. There's no Squid Games. What's going on?
There's no squid.
What's going on?
There's something fishy going on."
I think it's like episode 3 where you go in.
Yeah.
But the first two episodes are like so good. And right, just so you know, Squid Games 3.
Yeah, I've heard it's been
greenlit this year.
Yeah. What?
It's quick. I think it's going to be in the summer this year.
But this is the thing that people were saying they were a little bit worried about, because they felt like season 2 was a bit of a cash cow, because now they're just jumping on to season 3 as well. But I was like, this team know what they're doing, man. No,
this is a build-up. It's not a build-up in the sense that nothing happens. Fucking everything happens.
Yeah. And that cop, man, I love that cop and that whole backstory. Like, they're doing some beautiful bits of kind of like fragmented kind of entanglements of characters. It's really cool.
I forgot until a few episodes in who the characters were, even though the recap was there. The recap wasn't accurate enough to remind me.
I agree.
That,
yeah, but how can you recap 8 hours? Was it eight episodes? How can you recap 8 hours in like 1 minute and 30 seconds?
The main guy with the mask, that is the brother of the cop.
Yeah.
I forgot that for ages.
Yeah. Spoilers.
No, that's not a spoiler. That should be the recap. That we should know.
True. That's true.
That's Squid Games 1.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't tell you anything. I can't.
No, you can't tell me. Don't. I don't. I'm loving it though. But my point is, they've made the real world just as fucking dangerous and as exciting as the Squid Game, and that's what I thought was genius.
Yeah.
And I love the kind of concept of like what was it, bread and was it bread and lottery or something? Is the episode. And it's just.
Have you? If I said rock paper scissors -1, do you know my?
Yeah, that's that episode.
All right, okay, cool.
Yeah, and that was brilliant because I love how they brought games. They brought games to reality that was so brutal to watch, but then also that moment that happens, and Sarah was saying he cares that much about his friend because he has a family to live for. He does something in order to make the game work in his favor, like, and it's like, oh man, it was so powerful.
I'd say after like episode 3, it's 90% games, 10% reality. Like it flips a couple of times, but not enough because the games are where the shit happens.
Yeah.
It ends. The ending's good. It's not a disappointment, but it is. Oh.
Maybe this is why people are upset, because they're kind of doing like the cliffhanger on fucking purpose, whereas the first one, it was kind of all wrapped up so beautifully, like almost like a novel, and then there's still that element of, oh, is he going to get on the plane? And it's like,
it does feel like it's halfway through a series when it ends.
Yeah, see, this is why I think a few people are upset, because it's kind of like doing a Mission Impossible Part 1 and Part 2, and people get upset with that. But I'm like, that's clever for me. I think that's smart.
I still like it, but
leave me wanting more, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, leave me wanting more. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. I did it. I really enjoyed it, and there's lots to come for you.
But I feel that in that sense, I feel like they've shot the whole thing. Then, if you're talking about summer, they must have shot everything, and they just cut it in half and go, you'll get the other.
Well, I thought from Squid Games Part 2, the very first episode, there was lots of stuff in that episode that I think was clearly shot the same time as Squid Games 1.
Yeah, I agree.
With the hair and stuff like that, it's very difficult to read. I know you can do it; it's not difficult that much.
Yeah.
It felt like in one day they filmed the ending and the beginning of the new series.
Yeah,
they should do that. because everything's continuity wise.
100%, and it was spot on, and that's probably what I really liked about it. Is like the continuity for this show is on point. Like,
I can't wait for you to see it. Like all the memes at the moment. Have you seen the memes that are going everywhere now? Because in episode 3, I think it is, when he first goes into the new Squid Games and they get their photos taken, which
yeah,
I think you saw in the first one. Oh no, you did.
yeah,
It's exciting. We don't know it's a bad place yet, you know. So the photos of everyone in Squid Games 1 is like,
yeah,
and it's got his picture and it's got his photo for Squid Games 2, because he's like depressed, angry, and looking for revenge.
yeah, ready for it. Yeah,
And all the memes at the moment are both those photos together of like that, and he looks so old in comparison.
he's like, I'm
As
gonna
well, he
kick
looks
your ass.
haggard a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. Well
But yeah,
seasoned by Squid Games. Yeah,
it's good. Well, the other program there's lots of programs out, but we'll just mention one or two more before we wrap up. But what was your thoughts on possibly the thing that is going to be most talked about around the water coolers at work on Thursday, when the majority of office workers go back? Gavin and Stacey. Now,
yeah.
I've got a feeling we're going to be conflicting on this. So, what was your thoughts first?
This is a weird thing to say, like, because I only saw a few episodes of season 1, but I absolutely loved it, and I just haven't had a chance to catch up with every other season.
Oh, okay.
But it did give me a very interesting perspective on just how well written I thought it was, because I felt like I knew exactly what was going on with every single character.
But I feel that's placating the audience a bit too much. It was very ABC. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's the same conversation, but from different perspectives. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
If
No, I
you've
get
not
that.
seen everything, you're going, "Oh, that all makes sense." Whereas if you've seen everything, you're like, "They're going over old ground again."
Okay, yeah. I can see how that could be frustrating then, yeah.
Nothing was new. It's like there was a joke I saw online today. It was like Gavin Stacey bingo, and it was every phrase that has been said that's the catchphrase of the show, because it
Of course.
is a cheesy show. It's not a deep show. It's like an old school type program, and it's like Gwen makes an omelette, which she
Yeah,
does whenever she's uncomfortable,
yeah.
and there we go. Like, and then what's occurring? Done,
That's
and then
okay, yeah.
all the
Tidy,
phrases,
tidy.
yeah, all those phrases kept coming up, and it's fine because like when it's a show that's run that long, you want the greatest hits sometimes, don't you?
Yeah. Because also, yeah, like you're saying, I mean, I feel like the people that have watched all of the seasons almost like it hasn't paid off for them, because I only needed to watch the Christmas special and I get it all without
Yeah,
having to put in the time.
it's a good show, and I think it was better when it was the original couple of series. However much they were, I remember
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
them. It was one of those programs I was forced to watch. It was like not forced to watch, but you felt like you had to watch because everyone
Yeah,
was talking
everyone was
about it,
talking about it. Yeah.
and it is enjoyable, especially when James Corden, pre being a massive C bomb, like I just don't like the guy anymore. Like he's got a few redeeming features and he's okay sometimes, but ultimately he's quite annoying.
Right.
Again, he's the Benedict Cumberbatch that didn't get better. He got worse.
Yeah.
James Corden was quite funny and quite interesting, and now,
But I
yeah.
feel like that's his TV show, just he kind of, yeah.
And I hate the antagonist, which is his wife,
Yeah.
being horrible because she was in a TV. You know Russell Tovey
Yeah.
from Him and Her and The
Yeah.
Job Lot and all that sort of stuff. He was in The Job Lot, which is an ITV or BBC series, comedy series,
Right.
with James Corden's almost wife in this series, and she's lovely, and it's so funny, and she plays such a horrible, deplorable human being in this film.
Yeah. I don't like
And
that
it
she
annoys
has.
me because she's so nice.
Yeah, I don't like that she doesn't have any redeeming features. Like it did feel like they literally just painted her as the bitch. And I get that we're supposed to be on the side of, that you
They could
want.
just not have been a match. She doesn't have to be an absolute horrible person.
Yeah, I get that. I do feel like they really painted her out to be the Wicked Witch of the West. You know, like.
And it's too forced. The writing is too forced. It's like when James Corden goes, "Oh, when you said that." Oh no, she goes, you all said to me that you were always punching, and James Corden goes, no, you always said that.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a funny thing in real life that people say as a positive thing.
Yeah.
Like Drew, you are a very handsome man, but I can turn to you any day of the week and go, you're punching with your wife, and you would take that as a compliment because you're saying, irrelevant of my attractiveness, my wife is even more attractive than me. And that's a positive thing.
Oh, yeah, I know how lucky I am, man. Yeah, 100%.
It's meant to be a positive, jokey comment.
Yeah.
They've pinned it as a really negative one. And I think I suppose it depends who it comes from and
true
behind it.
I mean, if it comes from the person that you're supposed to be with, that feels harsh, though, because they're saying you could never have got me. Like, you're lucky as fuck to have me.
Yeah, if your wife turned around to you and said, Drew, you're punching. Remember how lucky you are? Now go and get the groceries. That's a bit like, oh, all right.
Yeah, you're like, ow.
Unless it is a joke, then fine.
Yeah.
But it's do you know what I mean?
It's like I see what you mean about like some of the forced awkwardness, though, because like when she starts talking about his shoes as well, like they're about to get married.
No one in their right mind would ever say that sentence.
That's unrealistic. That bit felt really weird.
Even if you're a prick, you'd look down and go, well, we're fucking here now. Right, let's carry it.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
You wouldn't be like, why are you wearing those shoes? Why are you wearing those shoes? Oh, well, I couldn't find the other ones. And it's like...
And the sweet moments I felt were shoehorned in, like Neil the Baby singing the Beatles while Paul McCartney, Blackbird. Yeah, brilliant, lovely, great voice. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Why are we listening to the entirety of the song rather than a little snippet? Why are we looking at the bride and groom and like James Corden trying his hardest to get a glazed eye? Like you can see him going.
Yeah.
Everything about it. It was. I'm contradicting it. I enjoyed.
Yeah, I enjoyed it while I was watching it. Yeah.
But every scene, I was just like, I'm watching actors try to act. I'm not watching a great show. I'm watching something that I'm enjoying, but mainly because I'm going to take the piss out of it as soon as it finishes.
Ouch. Fair enough.
And there's a lot of negativity online about it, and then loads of other people going, shut up, just enjoy it for what it is. And I'm like, actually, I agree, because it's not great.
It kept me entertained. Like it was one of the best things on TV at that point, to be fair. And yeah, we really enjoyed it, man. Like it did its job. Like you said, it maintained the characters.
Did you not shout at the TV at the end though?
Well, it was like I felt like it was so obvious.
No, the ending that everyone knew,
when they go to kiss.
The ending within 5 minutes, everyone knew what the ending was going to be.
When they go to kiss, and he's like, "We don't do that," or what do you mean?
No, the fact they're going to end up together.
Oh yeah.
It's obvious. The don't kiss thing is literally because that's weird because they've been best friends since childhood, so they can't do that. So they built that into the story because that's too weird. It's like me and you making a film. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite like you and me, but you know what I mean. But the bit at the end, it's like Neil. Is it Neil? I can't remember. Fucking what's his name again?
Which guy?
James Corden. Stiffy.
Character.
What's his character name?
Fuck.
Why is that so difficult? Yeah, I said Stiffy, and that's American Pie.
Stevie? Steve?
No, it's Neil. Definitely Neil. but his nickname is Neil Smith, Smithy.
Smithy, yeah.
So the most important part of the thing is when he realizes he wants to be with Nessa.
Nessa, yeah.
So him and his friends and family go off on the
They
hunt.
get on a bus.
Who would you bring? Maybe your fucking son?
Yeah.
Why is Neil the baby, who is a grown fucking child adult, not with you?
Yeah.
And the biggest
That bit was beautiful though. That bit was really heartfelt because I didn't know about them having a baby and all that jazz, and now he's older and he's playing guitar and he's a very handsome young man who's like a movie star essentially. But it was like, yeah, it would have made more sense for them to, yeah.
I think the comments online were that they wanted the end photo of the group together to be the original cast only, which makes sense. Which is why they didn't want Neil the baby in, because prior to this episode, there was just a random child and a baby. So that's the first time Neil the baby is a human actor.
Yeah.
So they thought it'd be weird if an actor who wasn't part of
the
last 10 years was just in a photo together. So
yeah, because he's only in one episode, right? He's only in this episode.
That's it. It's first time and last time I've ever seen him. So I get it. It is weird, but storyline, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
There was too many holes that was just like, this annoys me.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to watch it because I was around my parents at Christmas Day and they're like, oh, Gavin Stacey episode's on today. Do you want to watch it? And I was like, no. I'll watch it when I'm bored and there's nothing else on.
Yeah, fair.
And we'll give it a go. And I did enjoy it. It just annoyed me at the same time, which is allowed, I think.
Yeah, man. 100%. 100%. Well, when you watch Wallace and Gromit, we'll need to talk about that.
Ooh. I do want to watch that. I just haven't had a chance yet.
That is quite interesting to talk about, actually.
Positive? Yeah, I don't like the look on your face because you're positive about everything.
I think the problem is for me, man, like it couldn't live up to my expectations, I think, because I just love The Wrong Trousers.
Yeah, but these sort of things, you've just got to like roll with it and just go.
Yeah, but dude, good. I think
it's repeating the same stuff. They're not going to do anything imaginary or exceptional. It's just going to be the same stuff. Stick to the formula.
But I was just like, yeah, but ironically, I would have liked more of the formula.
Oh, there's less formula.
There's less formula and more kind of
down formula.
Let's try this,
Apparently, I don't know if you heard it. What's the comedian from Northern Land?
Peter Kay.
Peter Kay. There's a bit where he mumbles and it sounds like a swear word, and people are calling for it to be cancelled because Peter Kay snuck in a swear word in a children's program.
What?
There's a bit where he just goes,
that just shows everything that's wrong with society right now.
I know.
They're trying to close shit down because it's like, I mean, God, it's just
chill the fuck out.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it would be bad, to be fair, actually, if Peter Kay put a swear word into a children's program.
Especially for a children's thing. But I don't think he was.
I guarantee he didn't. It probably just sounded similar to.
Yeah.
It's just bullshit.
But also the fact that I can't remember that.
Clickbaity thing.
The fact that I can't remember that, but you've got people out there that are trying to find things that are, upsetting or triggering.
Ooh, by the way, for Christmas, when you go, you put extra effort into the same food that you have all the time for one day.
Yeah.
So we got a Waitrose around the corner. We don't go. Well, I go every now and again, but not really. I forgot the alcohol section in Waitrose is exceptional. So I went there. I bought 2 bottles of rum, which you would never see in Tesco or Morrison's. They don't exist. Never seen them in my life. And I got this one, Ron Piet.
Whoa, it's a parrot.
It's a parrot. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Fantastic.
But I've drunk far too much of it. I've in the space of less than a week, 2 bottles have gone. That's not good, is it?
Whoa. Dude, look, you'd be proud of me, right? Because this year, no turkeys were killed in this house. I mean, actually, technically, they're already killed already, but they weren't devoured in this house.
What did you have? Did you nut roast it?
Mate.
What is that?
That's the nut roast, bro.
That looks like lasagna.
Hang on, 2
I
seconds.
think
Wait, that's
just white it out because of the camera.
yeah. Wait,
You had
wait,
a
wait.
nut roast.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Hang on, it's better when it goes backwards. Look.
You've actually made it as well from
Yeah,
scratch.
bro, straight ref from scratch, bro.
Good man. What made you do that?
Well, just because that like you said about like perfecting things you do each year, and Sarah and I have been just working on the nut roast, man, and it was like, mate, we had, uh, it was like like new baby potatoes, and this was a game changer for me. Back in the day, we get the big potatoes and you peel them and you chop them in four and then grease them up and put them in the oven. It would take ages and it was just not the one.
Yeah.
And I remember there's a place here in Brighton called Foodillic, which is an amazing place with beautifully, really fresh produce food and cooked to perfection. And they had like new baby potatoes chopped in half and obviously like roasted. And so I was like, this is the vibe. And it has the skin on. So we put it with thyme, bit of oil, cracked sea salt, and so it's got the skin and it's just it's so beautiful, man. And we had Brussels sprouts. And yeah, man, it was just it's beautiful, and we always look forward to that, man. So it was like, yeah,
I think nut roasts get a bad vibe because it sounds boring, it sounds shit.
Yeah,
and
it does sound.
I don't like nuts. There's no nuts in it. Well, there is.
Well, yeah, there is. There is a lot of nuts in there, but you don't have to have nuts.
If you don't like nuts,
there's mushrooms in there and all kinds of crazy shit.
If you don't like nuts, it doesn't matter. You don't taste any nuts, you know. I had faux turkey and stuffing, and it was so good. But even fake turkey is a little bit dry, so it was like extra bit of gravy on that. But it did taste amazing.
Dude, mate, look at this. This is just crazy. Just to talk about some nostalgia and shit. I found this photo.
Oh, mate. Strategic visual.
Yeah, dude.
That's a lovely photo. I had such difficulty that day with lighting because of all that artificial light and stuff.
Yeah, mate, they were crazy days.
Fun.
But that was lovely. Like I forgot like how much of the strategic visual journey you were on with us. Do you know what I mean? So it was like that was amazing, man. Some of the stuff you did for us, dude.
Shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you very much for listening on the 9th of January or whatever day you're listening to. I hope that helped with your stressful gardening journey. No one's gardening in January. Your long
freezing in January
doggy walk or whatever.
Yeah.
Next week, with any luck, okay. I can't remember when things go out, but next week, hopefully, we might have a conversation about Nosferatu. And then the following week, we're probably going to have a conversation about Seven.
I can't wait, man.
The re-release in the cinema. I'm going to go see it in IMAX on the 14th.
4K, is it 4K?
IMAX, bastard.
Oh,
I'm going on the 14th.
I will pay to see that, like some crazy ass David Fincher freak. Oh, have you heard the crazy ass rumor though?
Yeah, it's the Fincher season. Zodiac's out as well.
Yeah, but mate, did you hear the crazy ass thing? I don't know how people feel about this, but David Fincher is in talks of trying to get the rights to create a Squid Games.
An American. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it'll be good.
I'd be very excited to see where he goes.
Just do their own thing. Just don't do the same concept. Don't call it Squid Games.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm hoping they don't do that.
Just call it giraffe fucking shoots. Giraffe swimming.
Giraffe raping.
Swimming giraffes. Do Squid Games underwater or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I was quite excited when I kind of read about that. I was like, that could be really cool. Especially like saying if they take it in their own journey, basically.
I'm sure it will be, but it just means I've got to watch the same program 3 times or 5 times because.
No, but I'm hoping that they have different games, they have different characters. But you're right. I hope it doesn't.
They're definitely doing green light, red light.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't skip that. That's the whole fucking premise. But also, like we mentioned a while ago, you got Beast Games on Prime. Mr. Beast basically doing Squid Games, but it's not Squid Games, but different.
Oh yeah, you were saying everywhere's kind of going that way. Like Squid Games just changed the game.
I'm gonna pee myself.
Yeah, dude. Let's call it. Let's call it, man.
Yeah, so love you guys. This was the Kevin Drew Show, or the Drew and Kev Show, whatever your preference may be.
Or the Crew Show.
Pardon?
Crew Show.
That's just one of my letters, 3 of yours.
Oh, yeah. Crucial.
The Devon.
Oh, because you've got an E. We share an E, man. You have an E in yours.
Let's have the Devon Show.
The Devon.
That's 1 of you, 4 of me.
Devon,
Oh,
and
you
it's
got me as
expensive
well.
Devon. This is Devon from Devon. Yeah,
It's
nice.
the Devon Crew Show.
Nice.
All right, smashing. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Oh, bye. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye.
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 This has been Rage Whale. Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you had a whale of a time.